Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Sport Family Podcast. I'm your host for today, Josh, and I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful Ricky and the best Chewbacca impersonator in the world, Jacob the Snake Up. How are we doing, guys?
Great, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks. How you doing, Chewy?
I'm amazing. I can't draw at the moment, but yeah, I will.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll put that in the post-edit. So today, guys, we have come to talk about the week in wrestling, including WWE and AEW, and all the big news stories coming out from there. I'm going to start with Jake today, who would like to talk about, in my opinion, one of the best matches I've seen in recent weeks in AEW, Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix. Jake, what are your thoughts?
I think AEW was a great event overall. But I did particularly enjoy this main event. It was obviously to become the face of the Revolution match, the ladder match, I think it was. So obviously Archer and Phoenix probably, at the start were tag team partners before this match. And then obviously they were drawn into the singles competition, which obviously had sparked tensions between the two. So that was quite interesting to see at the start. But yeah, highly explosive match, very, very, very decent high flying moves, especially from Phoenix. Even with Jake the Snake Roberts getting involved, it was still a good match because, as you know, I hate interruptions. So yeah, it was great. I don't think I had a favorite moment. I think I had quite a few favorite moments in the match. But yeah, obviously Archer, I thought it was going to go to a draw because of the TV time remaining, but Archer managed to pull off the blackout on Phoenix, and that was that. So obviously I didn't think that Phoenix would make the grade, which was a bit of a shame, but it was a great main event nonetheless. So very, very good match.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. Just a thought, someone I saw on Twitter, just a quick question for you, Jake. I've seen Phoenix be called the current best in-ring performer in AEW at the moment. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would actually agree, yeah. So, yeah, I think probably on the same par level as Rey Mysterio, if not better. I think he needs to work on, his give him a good promo. I think maybe learning English a little bit better. But to be honest, I think that he doesn't need to talk. I think all his high flying speaks for him, especially in his early days through the independent circuit. But yeah, he's probably the best independent wrestlers of all time and best high flyers of all time.
Okay, brilliant. And now a brilliant segue transition to Ricky, who would like to speak to you about two of the most famous high-flying wrestlers ever, really, in Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio. What would you like to talk about with regards to them, Rick?
Cheers, mate. I just think just the way they're used at the moment is the way I talk about them. I think we all agree that Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy are fantastic in the ring. But it's the way they're used. So we had Rey on SmackDown this week, again being battered by Otis and just losing matches along with Dominic, who you've said before, Josh, has come in as one of the next big things, and he seems just to be tagging with Rey now. So I think Rey's just being used as like a filler, really, on the SmackDown show. And then the same with Jeff Hardy. When was the last big match we've seen Jeff Hardy win that actually meant anything? He's had a few wins with Elias in a weird little matches they were having based on the storyline last year. He's had some average wins over up-and-coming guys, but when it comes to a big match this week on Raw, prime example, he's got a match with Sheamus, the Elimination Chamber the other day. Anytime he's in a big match, he's just chucked under a bus, really. He never gets to do his finishing move, and they win the match. So I just think it's where are they going to use Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio? Yes, we know where they are in their career, and they're going to get to that point where they're bringing young stars through. Sorry, I'm all happy about that. But against established stars, what's the point in them losing their matches, or what's the point in them being in that match if they're going to be losing it every time? So interesting to see what you guys think. But yeah, to me, Ray and Jeff, they're kind of just guys who lose matches for other people now.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with you on that one. Obviously, anyone who's listened to us before knows that Rey Mysterio is one of my all-time favourites. Quick question for you, Rick. Which do you prefer, Rey Mysterio's plethora of masks or Jeff Hardy's many, many different styles of face paint? Which is your favourite?
Definitely Rey Mysterio's masks. I hate Jeff Hardy's face paint. I was quite happy on Raw when Sheamus bloodied him, so most of it came off.
We all know and we'll all agree that the greatest face paint in wrestling today is Mojo Rawley with his cracked blue mirror glass thing on his face. That's undeniable, and I think we'll all agree with that one.
I think I beg to differ. I think the Blue Meanie had better face paint.
As long as they're blue, I think we're happy.
Yeah.
Moving on from two of the best high flyers of all time to arguably one of the best giants of all time, I just want to give a quick couple of thoughts on the signing of one Mr. Paul White to AEW, better known to his fans as The Big Show and to any 1990s WCW fans as The Giant. Massive surprise, I'd say, with The Big Show or Paul White becoming All Elite. It seems like his role is going to be both an in-ring one as well as the commentator on AEW's new Monday night show, AEW Dark Elevation. We haven't really heard much of Big Show on commentary, so it'd be interesting to see how he does in that role. But I think we'd all agree, massive sign-in, if you'll pardon the pun, for AEW. To have someone of that caliber backstage with those young and up-and-coming talents, like Jake was talking about with Ray Phoenix, people like that, the information, the passion that he has for the wrestling business and, what he can share with them. And does that massively open the door for other, what we thought were WWE lifers to go over to AEW? Because the Big Show's been one of the most constantly used and, most loyal Vince McMahon wrestlers, apart from, maybe The Undertaker and people like Triple H. Who do you think we could see next moving over to AEW, who we could have viewed as a WWE lifer? Who do you think, Rick?
Oh, God. Who's not being used right at the moment? Well, I mentioned two aren't being used right, but I don't think they're going anywhere. I would love someone, old school people, someone like Christian, I suppose. He made the jump before, didn't he, to TNA from WWE? But yeah, there's not many there now. Maybe someone like an AJ Styles or someone around that kind of performer who's been on the independents and maybe not happy with how he's being used. Someone like that I'd like to see there. I'd love to see people like Ricochet, but obviously that's a different question. But yeah, someone like AJ Styles like that maybe. But I think of the older generation, a lot of them really I couldn't see going.
Okay, Jake, do you have an old school WWE veteran who you'd like to see over in AEW or you think might make the jump?
I think I have a current and an old school at the moment. I think old school, probably Mark Henry. Probably, obviously, he's not, as I said, I don't know whether he's actually retired at the moment. I don't really particularly know if it's the same situation as the Big Show, or whether he has a lot of injuries. I'm not really sure, but I think he could fit into that environment as maybe an AEW developmental sort of coach. Work on the independent brands, could be useful in places like Impact as well, for up and coming superstars. Or he could be a talent drafter, bringing talent in from the independent scene. Current, as shown by his Twitter account, would be Shinsuke Nakamura. A few fan comments had spiraled the reaction from him that he didn't say he was particularly happy with the way he was going at the moment in WWE. But then he related back to his tweet, so maybe that's something that could be looked at for him to come over. You know, he was quite big over in Japan, and coming over to WWE, he was also quite big. But I don't think, you know, he's been used as much or as regularly as he should be, and that's the same as Cesaro as well. Sorry, he's coming into the spotlight now, but for how long, I think only time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. From, you know, talking about Cesaro, one person who's being, you know, pushed quite heavily at the moment and used really well on the SmackDown brand, to someone who has been consistently pushed heavily and arguably used really well on the NXT brand. Jake, I know you wanted to talk about the one and only Mr. Adam Cole and his, should we say, difficult relationship currently with the other members of the UE.
Yes, this has happened before in a ton of groups. Triple H doing a similar thing with Evolution worked really well, because I think Evolution, one of the staples I really love watching. I think, you know, this is a good thing for him. Don't get me wrong, the UE were a fantastic group. You know, getting tag team championships, Adam Cole being a champion for a long time, and I'm also Ricky's favorite. Initially, I didn't like him at the start, but he sort of grew on me as time went on, and I really enjoyed his presence in NXT, and his personality has grown. He's done a similar thing to Roman Reigns, I guess, on SmackDown, taking out Kyle O'Reilly 2 weeks ago at a Takeover, and now I can't remember his name now.
Roderick Strong.
There you are. Thank you. The Wednesday just gone on NXT. So yeah, I think it's the right decision to make for him. He works great as a heel or a face. He's similar to a Shawn Michaels or maybe a Chris Jericho in a way. Can really push himself well, and I think he'd be a great sort of rival to a Roman Reigns. If Roman is still heel up until that point, I think he'll have the crowd behind him, the shirt sales, everything else, and I think he's just got a great personality on screen as well. So yeah, I think it was the right decision. But you know, where do we go now from this move that WWE are making?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think, you know, Adam Cole's a brilliant babyface or heel. I think he could have some brilliant feuds with the other members of the UE, and then potentially go on to bigger and better things on the main roster. Moving on to what we probably call a stalwart of the main roster over the last few years, and people who've been constantly there, and as Jake was saying, shirt sales, things like that, probably the biggest merchandise shifters since mid-2000s John Cena and probably 2008 Jeff Hardy. Ricky would like to talk to us about how very, very happy he is with the current position of Mr. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, the New Day.
Of course, yeah, that's exactly right. Jake brought this up a couple of months ago, I expect, and he was saying about how he wanted the New Day not to be like the New Day are. He wanted them to turn and stuff like that. And at the time, me and you, Josh, I think said, nah, it's never going to happen, the merch, stuff like that. But I think now it should happen. I've changed my mind completely. Not with Big E, he can continue to do what he wants on SmackDown. But with Kofi and Woods, I feel like they're stale. They're constantly in this battle with another group that's being wasted in Retribution on Raw. And it's just boring now. Before, Kofi and Xavier, they're brilliant in the ring. No one's going to argue about that. But yeah, they had the charisma. Their promos were fun. Now their promos are rubbish. You mentioned, Josh, about an Elimination Chamber, Kofi Kingston. You enjoyed him talking throughout that match. I hated it. I wanted Sheamus just to boot the cage in and boot his face off to stop him from talking. But yeah, I just think they're stale. They're great. They're always going to sell merchandise with children and stuff like that, because that, you know, they bring out shirts with crazy neon colors. But I just think that their wrestling is being left behind because of them sticking to it. If they went heel now, perfect time for me. I said to you on the chat, for them to have gone heel was after their match with the Street Profits, where in that match they were quite heelish in the way they were, you know, beating down Montez Ford. So I thought it was a perfect time for them to make that transition. And there's no reason why they can't sell just as much merch as someone like Roman Reigns, we brought him up earlier, is doing now since he's turned into a full-scale heel. Sure, lots of head of the table t-shirts being sold right now. Why can't the same be done for the New Day? Because otherwise, we say there's a lack of tag team talent on the main roster in WWE, but I feel like they're right at the bottom on Raw. You know, I'd much rather Cedric and Shelton, the Viking Raiders. When Ivar comes back, they're much better tag teams than the New Day currently are. So, yeah, it's controversial, may never happen, but definitely I think if Kofi, especially Woods, who's a bit younger, want to stay relevant, then let's switch it up.
I mean, if you look at a tag team like Private Party on AEW, you know, the great tag team, not as popular as the New Day, but definitely a really good face tag team that everyone can get behind. They stick. They know that Matt Hardy's been everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. You know, he had the heel run with version 1 and Shannon Moore back in the day, you know, and now Big Money Matt is here, taking them under the ring, and look how better they are doing, sort of, you know, personality wise, wrestling wise, it's sort of changed the you know, their look on the wrestling scene, I think, for the better. And it's good to try things out even if they don't work, because you never know what you know, what could happen, different ideas. I mean, this is completely irrelevant, but I was reading up on Al Snow's autobiography, and when he moved from, it was, I think, developmental, he went to ECW. He was still contracted with WWF as it was. He went through the head phase. Obviously, that caught traction because before that he was in tag team with Marty Jannetty and everything else. WWE brought him back, and look how successful he was with the WWF up until the time that he left in the late near after 2009. So you have to try new things as a company. Otherwise, you know, it turns out how the New Day are now, which is equivalent of stale bread. So we'll see how that goes. Sorry, by the way.
Well, thank you for the stale bread comment. I'm inclined to maybe disagree. I think the New Day are brilliant. I think in WWE land, which they are, will Vince McMahon want to turn a team that does ship so much merch? He can always guarantee for, you know, an okay match on Raw or SmackDown. You know, it's going to be an interesting one. But whatever you think, whether it be about the New Day, Adam Cole, anything else we've talked about today, please interact with us in the comments. I know we will be replying to you. I hope you liked our first wrestling video coming up on YouTube today. Please remember to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel, as I know a lot of you have been listening to us on podcasts, but I think we're going to be trying something new with going over to YouTube. So if you could subscribe to the channel and also like and share the video, that'd be absolutely amazing. Any final thoughts from either of you today, guys?
Just the one. What did you think of Apollo Crews' weird Nigeria persona now?
My favourite part of that was MVP commenting on it when Apollo Crews put a tweet out saying, you know, I've become who I've always, you know, wanted to be. And MVP just commented on saying, it's about time, my young lion. I thought that was brilliant. I thought MVP's comment was probably better than the turn. But if, you know, he can get some good TV time and, you know, crack on with a good character, then I'm all for that. Jake, any final thoughts or comments?
No, maybe Ricochet could join him because he's been crapped on at the moment. You know, he could go over to AEW as well. So, you know, but yeah.
Okay, Ricochet or Trevor, whichever you'd like to be known as, if you're listening, give us a subscribe and comment about whether you're going to be going to AEW or not. Like I say, Like the video, share the video, comment and subscribe. I've been Josh, your host for today, joined as always by the wonderful Ricky and the world's greatest Chewbacca impersonator, Jake. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all soon.
Bye.